Hey folks, this is Waylon Lewis and Suzanne Spiegel, and we are here today to talk about something that I just actually learned about. I didn't really understand, and it blows my little mind, which is what? What's coming?
On November 18th, Boulder County's moratorium on fracking is expiring, which means that it's fair game to start fracking Boulder.
So they will immediately start scouting out good locations where they can pump or do whatever they do.
Well, our community is at a ton of resistance, so we have not been in favor of it. Communities across Boulder and the county itself have put bans and moratoria. So it's likely what they'll do is they'll start to put test sites. Once they put test sites in our county, they're grandfathered in and they can frack whenever they want, even if we change the law.
So November 18th, we are super vulnerable. So what can we do right now? If you're seeing this video, please share it. If you want people outside of our little choir of friends and community members in Boulder to see this video, please like this or share it right now. It actually will affect the Facebook algorithm and everyone in Boulder hopefully can see this. But please share this. If you're in Boulder or you have friends, like this or share this, and that will get the algorithm to move.
Yeah, and it's bigger than Boulder because the way I feel about it is because Boulder has a very conscious and environmentally aware community. If we can't protect this community, it is such a bad example for other communities. We need to be an example of how you stop this from happening.
We're like the rebel base in Star Wars. This is all we got.
It can't fall.
Yeah, we can't let this fall. So what can we actually do? So the liking, sharing thing is just so that people will see this. Communicating is how we're going to win this. But what can people actually do right now?
So right now, the Boulder County Commissioners and the Boulder Planning Commission are in the process of deciding what to do. So our moratorium, our short-term moratorium expires November 18th, which means that we don't have any protection after that. And so they're deciding, what to do. And the past two rounds, communities showed up, and that's why we got a moratorium. There was a huge amount of pressure.
When were those rounds?
The first one was in 2012. There was another one few years after that, about 2 years ago. So with this expiring, it's a different climate. We can't just go in there and be like, give us a moratorium. We're in a lot more of a precarious situation right now.
Because Hickenlooper has overturned bans in Longmont and somewhere else.
So because the oil and gas industry and Hickenlooper sued communities for trying to pass bans and moratoria, and then the Supreme Court of Colorado ruled in the favor of the oil and gas industry. There's a precedent. There's a law that's a precedent now in Colorado that says that states have more power than communities by law, which means that if Boulder County puts a moratorium on fracking in our community, something happened to the video.
No, that's just the old video. We're good.
If Boulder County allows fracking in our community, or if they put a moratorium where they say, we're going to pause it, they are very likely to get sued by the oil and gas industry.
So Boulder has to decide, the county commissioners and whoever, do we have the political will, do we have the support from citizens to put up a new moratorium and maybe get sued?
Well, it's not even a maybe. The thing is, it's already been established that moratorium by communities are illegal because the state has already said, our governor is pro-fracking. Hickenlooper is a crony of the oil and gas industry. He's all about fracking.
And we say that in a nice way. You're like a nice crony. You're corrupt in a really adorable way, Hickenlooper. Corrupt.
He basically, he is a spokesperson for the oil and gas industry. So the state is very pro-oil and gas. So when a community says, no, we don't want it, the state just comes down and says, too bad. It's called preemption. Preemption means that the state has the right to overturn any local decision. So here's the thing.
On a super basic level, what can we do?
So on a super basic level, with this dilemma, and the sad part is, Waylon, we're not at the point of it being that basic anymore. It's not that easy. We're fighting for our community, and we're fighting against one of the most moneyed and politically persuasive industries. So it's honestly not going to be like a quick fix. We need to be pretty on top of this and persistent if we live in Boulder County. But here's the thing, the commissioners are deciding at this moment what they're going to do, and so there are two things that we can do to participate, we can send our personal comments to oilgascomments at sorry, I'm going to say that again. oilgascomment@bouldercounty.org.
And if anyone is watching, any of my buddies or Suzanne's buddies are watching, please, if you can put that address in the comments, oilgascomment@bouldercounty.org. And if right now you start ignoring us and you email that, that would be good. And what do we say?
So that's the thing. What
we
to
say? Fracking bad.
So, of course, you know, voice why you don't want fracking. There's a million and one reasons why a community doesn't want fracking. It's horrible for community resilience, for public health, for environmental reasons. I'm sure you can figure
for water
out.
Use.
Yeah, for water, for air. Air is one of the largest issues. I mean, right now.
If we want to bring earthquakes into Colorado, it's a great way to create little earthquakes because you're literally fracturing the earth.
But it's not. The thing is, like, you look next door to Boulder County. You guys, I really encourage anybody who lives in Boulder to go and take a little road trip to Weld County to get a sense of the reality of what this industry does.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking. It is truly heartbreaking. It feels like you're going into a different planet. And I think living in Boulder, we kind of feel insulated from this stuff.
We're like Whole Foods or natural grocers or a farmer's market.
And
that's
life
our controversy.
Feels good.
Yeah.
Life feels good here.
Yeah.
So it's like, it can't come here.
But it's totally true. You drive out there and it's heartbreaking.
It's sickening. It just feels like you're going into an area that is completely a sacrifice zone. So send these comments. Now there's a couple things that you can urge them to do. Okay, so I'll give you my sense of it. I think we do need to push for a moratorium still. We don't have the legal right, but we do have the human right. And we do have the constitutional right.
We also have media and journalism, and they're going to love the story of us bothering to put up this moratorium.
We need to fight
and then getting sued.
To the end.
Yeah, we need to
fight to the end. I just don't think we can ever give in to this industry. We need to show through them, if they want to bully us over and over again, let's let them bully us, because it shows the real dynamic, which is we're a community. We're trying to protect ourselves. We've said no, and we're going to keep saying no, and they're going to keep trying to force us. And so I think we need to do it, one, so that people understand the real dynamic, and two, because if we create even a little delay, it's so significant.
Right.
So delaying an industry that, one, is economically delicate, and two, when we have in 2 years the opportunity to change the state law again, those delays seriously can't be underestimated. Every delay that we can create could ultimately keep fracking out of our community. Like, those delays could be what is the win, just lots of delays.
So we're friends with Deb and Elise, county commissioners. Isn't this pretty simple? Don't they just do the right thing and say, well, the will of the people is we don't want fracking, let's put a moratorium up. Come at me, Hickenlooper.
It's not that simple.
No.
So we want them to put a moratorium. Likely, right now, what we can ask for is a 6-month moratorium, because if the oil and gas industry is saying, can show that we're trying to impede in their ability, it's automatically overturned. However, 6 months is an amount of time that it takes to really evaluate and to look at things and to look at your regulations. So I think we can easily ask for 6 months, get that delay. Even though it doesn't seem that long, it's important to delay. And at the same time, as we're pushing for a moratorium, we should be also getting in place the strongest regulations possible, because if the oil and gas industry, overturns that moratorium, we do need to have some things in place. So a couple things to be aware of. Here's one thing to really push the Planning Commission to think about. One is that we force these companies coming in to open their financial books to us, to show that they're solvent, to show that they actually can be profitable, because most of them can't. Like, most of them don't even have the money for cleanup, you guys. They will come in and they will create a huge mess, and then they'll just claim bankruptcy, and then they'll leave.
Wow.
And so, like, even if a normal factory was coming into your county, you would want to know that they could clean up their crap when they leave. Yeah. And so if we demand that part of this is, one, that they have to put down a bond, money to show that they can clean up. These companies don't have a lot of liquidity. They don't have a lot of, like, they have money, but the thing is that it's all based on debt. And so they don't want to open their books because to show that they actually.
Genius. So what do we do about that?
So we push the commission to force them to put bonds down on everything that they're going to drill.
And how do we push the commission?
We just write a comment to oil,
address?
gas comment at bouldercounty.org. There's another thing we should push for. And that is that they give us a plan for where all of the waste is going to go. Right now, it's unaccounted for. They take millions of gallons of slurry, which is just, it's worse than what goes in. It's worse than the toxic stuff that goes in, because we have radioactivity in our earth here in Colorado. So the stuff that comes out not only has toxic, carcinogenic stuff in it, it can have radioactive material. And guess what they do with that? They pour it, like, there's accounts of it being poured in fields that are used for agriculture, on roads, as dust mitigation. It's totally unaccounted for. So we need them to write plans, and then we need to follow and make sure that they're following those plans, because they don't even know how to dispose of all of their waste. They can't.
It's so depressing.
Yeah.
Or infuriating. I'm not sure which. If you guys have any comments or anything, go for it. So what is fracking? That's a great question. We have lots of blogs on that on Elephant Journal if you want to check it out. Peter Waters is here, one of my favorite humans. Rainbow Mars, Ian, good to see all of you guys. Nicole, yeah, so if you want to put a definition of fracking, but basically here is hydraulic fracturing. Do you want to explain it?
In a brief nutshell, there's so many resources on this, but it's a way of extracting natural gas from the earth, and you put a drill into the earth and you shoot down way too much clean water, thousands of feet into the ground.
And we're in a drought, we're in a desert environment, and we're wasting tons of clean water.
But you guys, here's the thing, the thing that is, so it's water, it destroys millions of gallons, billions of gallons of water, and it never goes back into the cycle. We can never ever use it again. It's horrible. But the other thing is that people don't realize the worst and the fastest damage that it does is to our air quality. If you live in Colorado, just take a look to the east, and that brown cloud you see, that's fracking. And when you look over the mountains and you see that smog, that's not like cloudy fog. That's volatile organic compounds. That's low-level ozone. The ozone that sits over the mountains that causes lung disease, and that's why kids are having like asthma and all these issues. So we need to keep this out of our community. So there's one other thing. Oh, I need to say something about there's a hearing that we should invite everybody to.
Okay, hearing. When's the hearing? Sorry, people. We just got drunk briefly. Okay.
So there's a public hearing that you can come to if you live in Boulder, and you can actually make a public comment. And even though the email is good, it's completely different to show up and have your voice heard. It makes a completely different level of impact.
So where do you go?
So at the Boulder County Courthouse, which is just on Pearl and 13th Street. If you go, it's on the 3rd floor, the Boulder County Courthouse, and it's on Tuesday, November 15th. So 3 days before the moratorium expires, you'll have a chance to speak.
And it's at noon.
To your county commissioners. It's at 12 p.m. Thank you. So at 12 p.m. at the Boulder County Courthouse on Tuesday, November 15th. And you can show up, sign up to make a public comment, and basically urge them to put in place a short-term moratorium, and also, just in short, to put in the strictest regulations. Because here's the thing, this industry, it's tricky, because once they get in, even if we have the strongest regulations, this is an industry that has no respect for laws and rules.
They'll ask for this later.
Well, they'll do whatever they want.
Exactly.
So the priority is to keep them out.
It's kind of like that scene in Israel in World War Z. Have you seen that movie? Well, the zombie hordes are everywhere, and only Israel is safe because they had such a tight border already. And then somehow, like, a couple zombies get over, and then it's over.
Right. It's like once they get into our community, I just don't think that we'll be able to control them. They don't care, which is sad sad, but I think our priority is to keep them out. At the same time, we do need to support stronger regulations simultaneously because they need to be updated. And what we should be asking for is that this industry is accountable for where its waste is going, for opening its books to show that this is even economically viable, because we really know it's not anymore.
Right.
And also, we need to be testing our air and our water continuously. Because even if our local government has no right. So even if they can show that volatile organic compounds are increasing in the air next to fracking, and these are things that cause diseases like cancer and when you breathe them in, and lower level neurological disorders, we need to have baseline testing of that and continuous testing so that if somebody gets sick in our community and we have that information, we can take a class action lawsuit.
Right.
And we need that information. So that's another demand that we should be making, is all that information.
Let's go over the list. So email organic oil gas comment at bouldercounty.org. Hopefully that's in the comments from one of you guys. Email them and say we're asking for a moratorium of 6 months, right?
At least.
At least.
Yeah.
We're asking for, what was the second thing?
We're asking for basically, there's a variety of
We want to
points.
see their books.
Yeah, so we want to make sure that they're financially solvent, that they're even a profitable industry, because we know they're not, and they won't want to open their books.
Anything else? And then just show
and
up.
We want to see what they're doing with all of their waste, and we want baseline continuous testing for air and water and land quality.
So those are 4 things, and then if you show up Tuesday.
And honestly, guys, show up and speak your heart. You don't want this here, most of you. I've talked to tons of people in Boulder County. We've already voted against it. Show up and tell them from your heart why you don't want this, and that is impactful.
And is there a color of shirt or something to wear? Is there like an organizational thing?
That's a great question. Let's wear white t-shirts on the day.
Okay, so white t-shirts, because that way, even if you don't speak, they'll see solidarity.
Yeah.
So wear a white shirt of any kind. Doesn't have to be a t-shirt, just white of any kind. Oil gas comment at bouldercounty.org. Thank you, Heather. Stephen Fenberg is here, who is running in a tough race against Forrest, Colorado State Senate. And here's a good question. Tom says, Tom is a libertarian buddy of mine, and he says, stop fighting nuclear. Nuclear, I think, is great in a lot of ways, but again, there's that waste issue. So I'd love to know what you think about that. But yeah, I mean, basically solar and wind are already affordable and competitive. So we're kind of that's the good news here, is we're in a good situation. There's Edna, our good friend. If you care about breathing or still having our wonderful home called Earth, yeah, just basic health. These two are stellar. Watch regarding issues that Boulder is currently dealing with. Yes, and November 18th is coming. Fracking is coming to a theater near us, and the only thing we can do right now are 2 things. 1, oil gas comment at bouldercounty.org, and you ask for those 4 things. Let's try and go over those again.
Okay. So, so you're emailing the Planning Commission and the Boulder County Commissioners, and first, you're asking that they extend the moratorium for at least 6 months. That's a very small amount of time. Don't say anything else.
Just keep it super organized. So ask for a moratorium for at least 6 months.
At least 6 months.
2.
If you want to get into regulation, because it's likely that moratorium gets overturned. If you want to get into the regulations that are, that are stronger, 1, we're asking that they require that these industries open up their financial books to us.
That's 2.
And that they put down bonds, a bond, on every single fracking site to show that they've got the money for cleanup.
That's 3.
And then we're also asking that, what else are we asking, Waylon? I forgot.
Number 4 was, anyone watching, can you remind us?
That,
there was a 4th.
There was more.
Well, whatever. We got those 3. That would be a good start. Then show up in your white shirt.
I'm going to send out a list of all of these points. So if you want to get that email, you can go onto the Frack Free Colorado website Oh, thank you, Heidi. I'll say it again. You can go on the Frack Free Colorado website and sign up for our email list, and I'm going to send out all this information with talking points.
We mentioned waste, but
no, it's different. So
okay.
Heidi, so the last point is that they, this industry has millions of gallons, billions of gallons of unaccounted for toxic waste that comes out of the process, and we're going to ask them that we want to see before they start their plan for disposal, and we're going to hold them accountable for that, because right now there's no accountability on a federal level for this industry. They can put it basically wherever. So I've seen personally, I got a call from an oil and gas worker who was so disgusted by the industry. He was an oil and gas worker, and he called me secretly and he said, I have to tell you that they're just pouring it in this field in Wells County. And I drove out there, and it was disgusting. Like, on ag land, there was just oil and gas, like, waste just poured out on the land.
Ag land meaning farmland.
Farmland.
Yeah.
And so,
food.
Yeah, so we value organic food here. Like, they have no accountability around waste, and they don't even have a process for doing it. My belief is that if we were to hold them up to standards, because the EPA has said that the reason that we don't regulate these things is because it would make the industry not profitable. They couldn't afford to do it.
It's so bad that if they regulated it for human health, it would go out of business.
They can't afford to be responsible, so we need to have these regulations, hold them responsible on everything, because here's the thing, fracking can't be done safe. And so if we actually monitor every part, they can't do it safe. They just can't. The fear, though, there's no guarantee that they'll follow our regulations. We can put all these regulations in place. This is an industry that is flagrantly disrespectful of environment and communities. And so once they get in, even if we have strong regulations, who's going to hold them accountable?
It really surprised me. I think of fracking and oil companies as really just sweet, kind people devoted to the public good. So thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. It's actually been pretty huge. I just tried to do this on my personal account as an experiment. And please do those two things. Show up on November 15th at noon at the Courthouse if you're here in Boulder. Email oil gas comment at bouldercounty.org. And most importantly, perhaps, if you feel like it, if you appreciate Suzanne showing up today, give it a like, give it a funny emoticon. That'll help it get out through the Facebook algorithm, and share it with anyone you know in Boulder, right?
Right.
Awesome. Suzanne, thank you so much. If you've appreciated her, give it a like or emoticon. Let's get this video out beyond the choir. And we could end with a bow if you feel like it. This is a Buddhist little thing. It's a nice way to touch in with the present moment, which is a pretty good moment as far as moments go. So just take a good posture and a nice breath. And then a reminder of our mission, all of us, is hopefully to be of benefit, and then give it away. So thank you, Suzanne.
Thank you.
Shall we shake hands like on a talk show? All right. Thank you. See you guys.